Hey guys, I was just out here doing a little work in the shop, and I watched a video the other day a young man made, and it was a very good video that he made. He was talking about his Harbor Freight mini trencher and how stable it was. I have literally had this thing in the mud before, with the mud going over this part right here and up on this piece of metal right here, and literally dragging itself through the mud, digging out a bar ditch. And I was on flat ground and the ditch was in the middle of me, and the tires were sinking and the outriggers were sinking, and it just kept on going. I've had this thing in places where it was kind of iffy, but I never felt unsafe. It's always because the center of gravity is just so low, especially with these big tires on there. When I put them on the back, I was just cleaning out the bar ditch down there where the tin horn's at the other day, and I just ran it in here and parked it real quick. You can see how muddy the bucket and everything is up there. I had to leave and go back to work, go back to the real world. But yeah, I seen that young man talking about that, and I was like, I've had this thing in weird situations I really probably shouldn't have been in. I've been on hills so steep that the tongue, that's the reason I made that extension, because the ball hitch was digging into the ground because it was so steep and it was so uneven and stuff. But I've had this thing in some very, very, very weird situations. God's honest truth. If something happened to this thing to the point that I could not fix it, and you can fix everything on it. And I have fixed quite a few things. And everything I've had to fix has been my fault, not the machine's fault. It's been my fault. But if something happened to this machine, I would buy another one tomorrow. I like it that much. It's slow, but it's steady. You get it lined up and you get to where you want to be and you start digging, and you look down in an hour and you're a long ways from where you started. I promise you, this thing may be slow. It may take forever to get going, but once you get lined up where you want to go to work at and you start digging, this thing will run 4 hours on a tank of gas. And I honestly have never ran this thing wide open. I have very rarely ever have I even ran it maybe 3/4 of the way wide open. I've never had it just full out wide open. I never have. And he was talking about how strong it is. I've never tried picking up weight with it, but that bucket up there, I've got a homemade thumb on it, and I have picked up stumps that I really didn't think it would pick them up, and it picked them up and moved them around. When I was burning stumps, I was using this thing to pick the stumps up and drop them and knock the dirt off of them so I could continue burning them and getting them, out of my way. And you get that bucket, and that's a pretty good sized bucket, for what it is. And I have picked it up absolutely mounded full of just sopping, wet, muddy dirt, clay, clay. And it'll pick it up every time, and it'll do it all day long. I have worked this thing. My hour meter quit me. The battery went dead in it. I don't know how many hours I have on it now, but when the hour meter quit, it was around 240 hours, and I know I need to buy another hour meter for it, but I know it's probably pushing over 300 hours now. But it has been a fantastic little piece of equipment. That little motor right there, I'll bet you $100 bill I can go over and turn the gas on. I always run it till it runs out of gas. I always run it dry. I always kill it that way when I'm gonna be parking it for a long period of time. But I'll bet you $100 bill I go over and turn the gas on right now and let it sit there for a minute and let the gas fill the carburetor bowl up. And I can pull that cord once, maybe twice, and it'll start. And it won't die until you either kill it or it runs out of gas. But I just wanted to make this quick little video and say everything that young man said about this thing is correct. And I've had this thing in mud and rocks and stumps and just weird different situations, and I have never, ever, ever felt unsafe on it. Like I said, if something happened to it, I'd buy another one tomorrow. They are good pieces of equipment. If you're trying to make a living, yeah, you want something that goes fast. But if you're a homeowner and you want to have something that's convenient and it's not that expensive and you can use it at your leisure, this thing is fantastic. I really do like it, and I would recommend it to anybody. Well, you guys have a great day, and I just wanted to put in my 2 cents on this, talking about this thing and how well it works. And it works great from the factory. The only reason I did the things that I did was to make my life easier. That's the only reason I put the outrigger holders and the rear tires. Those rear tires, they make it a lot more cushiony. And on my four-wheeler, see, my hitch is way down there, and then I've got all this stuff up here, and it's the motor wants to hit my tail light. Actually, you can see where it hit my tail light and cracked it right there. That's another reason why I put that extension on there. Well, I'll get off here. I just wanted to rattle for a second and let you guys know that young man knows what he's talking about. And I've got a lot of hours on this thing, and I think it's a good piece of equipment. You guys have a great day, and take care.